Hey YouTube, this is Freedom Voice here. I wanted to do another video on community surveillance and gang stalking, and just to kind of show in this video how they will actually use homeless people to do the surveillance. You're going to see clear evidence in this video that, they're obviously using homeless people for surveillance. This is one particular morning when I'm headed into the office. I have a satellite office up in the mountain. This is a mountain community, a small mountain community. And so I have kind of like a satellite office in this building right here. I'm pulling up to on the left. And as I make that left-hand turn, I'm just going to slow the video up here. I want to talk a little bit about our satellite office, which is at the end of the building down here. You'll notice as I'm driving up, you can see this Honda car facing me. I've seen this car many times. I know these guys are gang stalkers. They're doing the surveillance. There's two of them. They appear to be homeless. You can see one of the guys actually has a mat right here, which is in front of the front door that I go in. He sort of portrays himself as being a homeless person. But if you'll notice off to the left, you can see that it's been snowing. Temperatures get down to about 25 at night. So I really doubt if he's actually sleeping there throughout the night. I know he's not there during the daytime because 3 times out of the week I'm there. And I know he's not there. So apparently he's sleeping at night. So I want to zoom in on this guy. This guy is kind of like his buddy. He obviously has his car. You can see he's actually in there, and I want to slow it up here. You can see him on the right side. As soon as I pull up, you can see him push his covers down. And I want to show you, this is the one that would do the surveilling in the beginning, and then you'll see Johnny, his buddy, coming up. You can see him take a look here. This is the first look. I'm going to kind of number each look or watch as I can see in the video. I'm sure he's watching many more times, but this is what all I could perceive. You can see at the bottom right the actual video in regular frame size, and the other video obviously has been superimposed to really kind of see his face as much as possible. I know it's distorted, but I'm just kind of doing that to kind of show how these guys operate. Now, when I shot this video, and this is watch number 2 here. You can see him pop his head up there, and he's looking right at me. It's very clear that he's looking right at me. Now, as I was going to say, I shot this video from my dash cam. When I saw him facing me, I knew that he was going to be doing stalking, surveillance, I'll say. And so I pulled in right in front of him so that I could get the footage on my dash cam. And I didn't look up, guys. I never looked up. I just kind of looked down. I had my iPad on, and I was looking up some things on my iPad, and I never once looked up at these guys. But I knew my dash cam was running, and I knew that he was either, at first I thought he was out walking around. This is watch number 3, by the way, guys. You could see him clearly look up at me. Clearly he's watching. And what's interesting is, the question I would ask is, how did he know I pulled up? Like, he obviously knew. He has some sort of intel. When I got there, and you could see him obviously pull the cover down and start watching. I kind of slowed it up here so you can really clearly see what he is apparently doing. But as I was mentioning earlier, these videos, I'm shooting this video on my dash cam, and I wasn't looking up. I was looking down at my iPad, just looking up some things on my iPad. I really didn't even know these guys were in the car. I thought they were out walking around and would probably walk up on me or something like that. I didn't know he was actually in the car. It wasn't until I got home and saw this video that I knew he was in the car and doing this. But I'm making this video to show people that community surveillance, community policing, gang stalking, whatever you want to call it, is real. And this is evidence of it. These guys portray themselves as being homeless, but I know they're not homeless. I know for a fact that they're not. This is watch number 5. You can see him clearly look up and look at me. And I kind of slowed it up so you could really get a good look at it. If you look at the bottom right, you can see in the regular sized frame, maybe even a little bit better. But you can see the same video that's on the back, that's sort of superimposed, I'll say. You can see clearly from that when he looks up and looks over at my vehicle. Now, I'm looking down, so they obviously can see that I'm looking down. I'm just handling my office business. Again, I did not know these guys I didn't know he was actually in the car. I didn't know he was actually pretending to be asleep until I saw this video. And I didn't even know when he pulled off. But you'll see that he takes about 7 or 8 looks at me, and then his friend Johnny, the guy that I know, I met this guy, I talked to this guy, and he came across and portrayed himself as being homeless. But he is not homeless, not by a long shot. This is watch number 6. You can see him clearly look up. And each time you could see him lift his head up and clearly look up toward my truck, which is parked right in front of him, which is actually running the dash cam. Now, there were 2 cameras that I had running, and I was able to pick him up on one of the 2. So now he lifts up on the 6th watch, and he kind of sits up there. And you'll notice that, he pulls down his visor so he can sort of appear sort of incognito. These guys, it's kind of funny, it's kind of funny. I mean, these guys, they try to be discreet. They try to be incognito, but they can't. They obviously give themselves away just by their demeanor, and they try to pretend as though, they're not doing anything illegal or wrong. But yet and still all along, they have to hide all of their actions. Everything they do has to be sort of camouflaged or hidden under this veil. That's the way these guys work. And as I said in my last video, you have these passive stalkers and aggressive stalkers. These guys are obviously passive, but they're definitely stalkers. Now, you can see him again looking. As he leaned back now, he sort of put his hands over his head like that to kind of sort of camouflage his eyes. He knows at this point that I'm video recording, and that's why he's sort of trying to play it off here. I'm speed ramping the video. It's about an hour-long video here Okay, here's Johnny. And Johnny comes up to the car. Now, this guy I know, this is the one that was on the mat that claims to be homeless. I want you to notice how many times Johnny takes a look over at me. As soon as he walks up, notice he takes look number 1. And if you look down at the bottom right, you can see them both actually looking at me, right? And again, I promise I did not look up. I didn't know these guys were even standing there. I was busy on my iPad. I didn't even know they were looking. It wasn't until I watched this video that I saw what I'm seeing now. And that's why I'm making a video out of it, just to show people that this is kind of how these guys work. This is community-based stalking, gangstalking, surveillance, community policing, whatever you want to call it. Notice how he sort of tries to play it off by looking around, looking up, looking down. They kind of give themselves away. And you can kind of clearly see that they are actually surveilling. That's the reason why, again, I'm making this video. That's the reason why I run these cameras. Now, again, notice watch number 2. He's sort of wiping his nose there and taking a very good long look towards my vehicle. If you look down at the bottom right, you can see them both actually looking. His buddy there has his visor down, sort of pretending like they're not looking, but they are actually looking. I'm not intimidated by these guys. I mean, in fact, next time I come up, I'm gonna tell Johnny that he's now a YouTube star. He's now clearly being portrayed, or I should say, being sort of debuted on YouTube as a gang stalker, as doing community surveillance. And if he wants to look at the video, I'll give him the link and let him see it. You know, these guys, I mean, they come across one way. These guys are cowards. They come across one way and they try to pretend as though they're one thing, but they're chameleons. These guys are fake. I mean, look at them. Watch number 3. You can clearly see that they're surveilling. And this is the reason why I'm making this video. Again, you know, just trying to show people that this is where we've come to in society now, where you have community-based stalkers, community policing, people watching other people and snitching on them. This is no different than COINTELPRO back in the 70s. No different. It's still alive and well. And there are many people involved with this type of community-based surveillance and stalking. Notice watch number 4. Clearly, he's looking right at me. Again, these looks, or watches, I call them, that are numbered, all happen within the course of about 10 to 15 minutes. That's not normal, guys. That's not normal. And I am putting this on file, documenting this to show evidence of the fact that illegal surveillance and stalking is taking place. It's taking place in every community. And, you know, the people that are being watched, like myself, we've not done anything, nothing wrong. We're not doing any illegal activity for people to be surveilling, especially community people in the community to be surveilling. You know, this is illegal. This is obviously unconstitutional and illegal. Again, if you'll notice Johnny, and notice here, watch number 5 again, and you're going to notice on this one, he's going to stand up and he's going to clearly sort of stretch and sort of pretend as though he's stretching and looking around when all along he's looking at me, right? Surveillance. And they know I wasn't looking at them. That's the reason why they're both looking right at me, just kind of keeping an eye on, just saying, hey, you know, we're watching you. And they're not the only ones, I know. But again, I'm not at all intimidated by these guys because they're a bunch of cowards. You know, it's easy for these guys to hide behind their one lights and their bright lights. It's easy for these guys to hide under their cover, acting like they're sleeping stalkers, sleeping beauty. But, you know, they can never face people. They can never face the individuals that they're stalking. They certainly won't say anything to them. They just kind of hide behind trees and walls and bushes and one lights and bright lights and steering wheels. But, you know, they can never face off with the person. If we did something wrong, tell us what we did wrong, the reason why you're stalking. Again, this is watch number 6. But I'm going to keep recording these guys. I'm going to keep exposing these guys. I'm going to keep showing the American people what's going on in every community so that it not only can be documented, but so that people can know that this activity is happening just like it was back in the 70s under the COINTEL program. This is watch number 8. You're going to notice he's going to walk away now because they know I wasn't looking at them. So as he walks away, now his buddy there, and I want to kind of zoom in on him again and kind of speed ramp the video because I don't want this video to be too long. You can notice his license plate there. This is the sleeping stalker that happened to wake up as soon as I got there. Now he goes into his back seat. I guess he's rearranging his covers. But if you'll notice now, by now he knows I'm watching him. He's putting something in his nose. I don't know what that is. But notice he kind of looks over at me, watch number 8, as he closes his doors. He's going to walk around to the other side of his car, takes another look. You know, I mean, I hope these guys are obviously on somebody's payroll because they're really doing their job. And then he takes another look here. And he sort of looks down at whatever he's doing there, but he's going to take another look. This is actually watch number 11. And he looks for a while this time. Then he looks down. Now, all along, guys, as I said before, I'm not looking. That's the reason why they're looking at me so regular. Because what they want is they want me to see them watching me. But I didn't look up one time. And that is the reason why they're constantly looking at me like this. Because they want me to see them stalking and surveilling. In other words, they want to create this paranoia in my mind. But I'm not paying these guys any attention because I'm not at all intimidated by them. I mean, these guys are a bunch of cowards. I mean, how can you be intimidated by guys that do things like that operate like this? So you'll notice he gets in his car here. I'm sure he looks many more times, but he figures game is up now. He realizes that I'm not going to look at him, that I'm not looking up at him, that I could care less. I've got business to do. I've got things to do. I'm making phone calls. I'm in my truck doing whatever I would do, even if he was not even there in front of me. And you're going to see him drive off now because he realizes game is up. We obviously didn't intimidate him.